Hello and welcome to Texan Collection Odyssey. This is the March Media Collection update. I've gotten a little bit behind on updating my media collection updates, basically. So I apologize for that. There's been some other life stuff going on, but I'm working on getting caught up, and this is the first step to do that. So first, let's take a look at some vinyl records, right? That's always the most fun. All right, so first up, we have Rusty Wier Stacked Deck. So Rusty Wier was kind of a contemporary of Guy Clark, Jared Jeff Walker, kind of part of the Cosmic Cowboy scene in Austin in the 70s. He has an awesome look, right? You gotta love this. And the album cover with, all the cards. Stacked Deck is the title of the album. Good back cover as well. But his sound is kind of almost, that Austin country mixed with almost funk, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of, bass-driven stuff, a lot of, funky guitar sounds, and just a really interesting style. I have 3 of his albums already, and this is a 4th one for me. And I think maybe there's only 1 or 2 more in his catalog. And he's actually not really well known, and I can't even remember now how I found out about him, but I found his 3 other records in an antique store down kind of in the Austin area, and I listened to him and I loved the sound. Maybe I'll make a video one day kind of talking about Rusty Wier. Maybe trying to give him, not that he needs more exposure. He's actually passed away now, unfortunately. But his music definitely deserves to be heard, and he'd be a good listen for anybody who considered themselves, a fan of Texas country music. All right, next, kind of in the same vein, it is New Riders of the Purple Sage, Panama Red. So I love this album cover. I love the drawing here. And on the inside, there's even more. So it's almost like a little comic, right? And it basically kind of tells, each of the songs in the album. It's got a little detail, a comic panel about that. And I love the art style. I love, it's not necessarily a concept album, but, the art makes it really appear that way. But the New Riders of the Purple Sage are basically kind of an offshoot of the Grateful Dead, from what I understand. It's kind of complicated, but basically it was kind of the country music, or country rock rather, form of the Grateful Dead style of music, which already had a lot of country and folk influence on them. But yeah, just a cool insert, kind of into the, also 70s movement of country rock, alternative country. And finally for records, we have The Seahawk. It says, the classic film scores of Eric Wolfgang Korngold. So I don't really know his name, but I know the movies Captain Blood, Robin Hood, and The Seahawk. So these are some really good adventure movie scores from the 30s and 40s. And these aren't the original recordings, I don't think, but I've listened to it, and I guess it's an RCA sponsored re-recording. But yeah, they're not bad, and they're enjoyable to listen to. And it's a cool cover too, the 2 ships at sea there. But that's the last record. And I got that one at a Goodwill. The other 2, actually, I believe I got at a record shop in Houston. So I picked those up kind of for, normal record prices. All right, and something else I also got at this record shop, it was Vinyl Edge in Houston. The sticker's still on here. I got the CD version of Weird Al's Poodle Hat. So this was his early 2000s, that was 2003, album. I'm a big Weird Al fan. I love his humor. I love his parody songs. This has some of my favorites on here too. Trash Day, which is hot in here. Complicated Song. And my favorite, this has to be one of my absolute favorite Weird Al songs, just because I remember in school, like sitting at the lunch table and people were pulling up YouTube videos of random funny things, and someone pulled up this video of eBay. And I don't think I'd ever heard Weird Al before, but I heard it, and it was the most hilarious thing, taking the Backstreet Boys' I Want It That Way and replacing it with, what I bought on eBay. And this is also kind of connected to something else recently. I actually got to see Weird Al in concert a few weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun. It was the Strings Attached tour. He had the full, orchestra there. And he ended it with 2 of my favorites, which was, the encore of Yoda and The Saga Begins. So he came out in the full Jedi robe regalia. All right, so this was a Goodwill find. This is Honey Brown. They were a early 2000s Texas group. The big hit they had was Texas Angel. That's still played on the radio a lot. But yeah, this is kind of a weird looking, I don't know if it's a real album or a compilation or something. But the only version of Texas Angel I have is a really crappy burned version, back when everybody's passing around burned CDs. But yeah, so glad to get this even just for the price of getting, a good version of one good song. And it's going to go into, the Texas Music Collection. Vertical Horizon, Everything You Want. This has a few good songs on it. We Are Your God, Everything You Want, and The Best I Ever Had. Just some good old 90s alternative rock. Next up is this. It is Sugar Ray's self-titled album. I'm a big Sugar Ray fan. I love their sound. This has some good songs on here. When It's Over, Under the Sun, Words to Me, which is actually in the Scooby-Doo movie, I believe. And yeah, cool album cover. The dogs are in there. But yeah, glad to get this. And kind of in the same vein, keeping the pattern going here, The Presidents of the United States of America. And this is also a self-titled album, the one with the frogs and the horns on it. Yeah, so they were kind of a novelty band from the 90s. One of their most famous songs that I know from is Peaches. And there's another one, I can't remember what it is. Oh, Lump, yeah, which also Weird Al parodied into Gump. But yeah, this is just kind of a novelty pickup for me too. But yeah, glad to get it. This apparently belonged to, what is it? Nancy. Picked this up at Goodwill. Glad to get it. Alright, now this is the best CD of the lot. It is Aaron Watson's The Underdog, which is not that old of an album, I don't think. And it is signed by him. Picked up at Goodwill for 99 cents. So if you needed a reason to, go to Goodwill or thrift shop around, this is a good reason. It's got some really good songs on here. This is one of those really solid albums. This looks really good. It's a little banged up, but awesome find. Alright, so these next two are kind of just collector, finds for me personally. This one I had as a kid, but I don't know what happened to it. Sim Coaster. This kind of introduced me to the sim genre of games and really got me into it. And who doesn't want to design a theme park, right? Alright, and this is Lego Creator, which is basically a program, where you can, build, Lego projects on a computer. This has to be also one of the first, Lego programs that was created before all of the other Lego video games. And I'm a big Lego guy. I have a lot of good memories as a kid of playing with Legos, and I also still collect some sets today. So those were fun to get. For a DVD, I added to my Psych collection here. This is the complete 4th season. Some really good discs in here. Picked this up at Goodwill for almost nothing. And yeah, awesome addition to the collection, especially for a big Psych fan. Alright, this is Tommy Lee Jones in Man of the House on DVD. So yeah, not the Chevy Chase Disney version. In this, Tommy Lee Jones plays a Texas Ranger who's assigned with, defending 6 UT cheerleaders. So definitely kind of a Texas-themed movie. It's got Cedric the Entertainer in it, and he's hilarious. But yeah, awesome movie. One of those weird movies that's kind of in limbo. Not many people know about it. But yeah, probably never coming to Blu Ray, so glad to get it on DVD. Up next, we have a DVD of Mythbusters, the first 3 pilot episodes. Vacuum Toilet, Poppy Seed Drug Test, and of course one of the most famous ones, the Jato rocket car. Basically where they strapped a rocket to Chevy Impala to try and make it fly. And that would return in the series, I think 2 or 3 times, where they tried to do it again and again. But yeah, this is before it actually became a series, so these are not even considered in season 1. But Mythbusters is kind of in a weird place when it comes to home media, because I think Discovery has basically said, we're not making home media anymore. So tough. And I think the last 2 or 3 seasons have not been put out on DVD or Blu-ray. So it's kind of discouraging to buy, Mythbusters seasons because you're not going to be able to complete your set. So hopefully in the future, maybe we can get, someone else to license it out and get a collector's edition Blu-ray of the complete series of Mythbusters, because I love that show. All right, for the only book I have a Louis L'Amour book, but it is not one of his many Western novels. It is actually his memoir called Education of a Wandering Man. And I've never read this before, but I know that he has a very interesting, crazy life. He was a merchant marine. He moved all over the world. He did a lot of different things because I did a report on him in high school. And I remember I didn't read this book for my report, but I was aware of it. And I saw this in a thrift store, picked it up for like $1 or 50 cents or something. Awesome find. All right, now to look at some Blu-rays. I've got a lot here. All right, first is The Way, Way Back, which is a really cool kind of independent style coming-of-age comedy. I got some really good actors in it. Sam Rockwell, who is one of my favorites, and Steve Carell, actually, who in this movie plays a jerk, which is kind of unusual for him. Usually he plays a very nice guy, just like he is in real life. And so really good movie for anybody who's into, coming-of-age, dramedy type stuff. Dun, 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 dun. So yeah, okay. Jaws, right? No explanation needed. Apparently this looks awesome on Blu-ray. Got some really, really good bonus features too. So cool to get this. Oh yeah, and I got this at a thrift store, and I got it for a really good deal. Next is something that kind of combines my interest, definitely into Texas music and stuff, as y'all know, and this is Crazy Heart, which is Jeff Bridges playing a hard-drinking, hard-living songwriter. And it actually also stars Robert Duvall, who starred in a very similar role in a movie in the 70s called Tender Mercies. And I haven't seen this, it's actually a blind buy, but I know this is right up my alley. Alright, I Love You Man. I watched this on TV one day a few years ago, and I fell in love with this movie. It's Paul Rudd and Jason Segel, and I love anything that Paul Rudd does. He's hilarious to me. But yeah, it's basically something you don't hardly see, and it's basically a really good look, almost like a rom-com, just between two dude best friends. Their relationship as they go through friendship. And that's really awesome to see. As a guy, it's a comedy with a lot of heart. Would somebody step on a duck? Okay, Caddyshack, right? It's got a gopher puppet. That's all that needs to be said. Glad to get it on Blu-ray. Okay, Office Space. This was actually also a blind buy. I had never seen Office Space, but I love Mike Judge's other stuff. I love Idiocracy and King of the Hill. But yeah, I love the main actor in this. What is his name? Ron Livingston. I think he was actually Jon Favreau's friend in Swingers. So yeah, this is just a really interesting movie. I watched it, and I liked it. I did. I could definitely see the hype from the time that it was created. You know what I mean? I can understand why so many people liked it at the time. I'm not saying it doesn't hold up, but a lot of things have come that not emulated isn't the right word, but movies have come along that are in the same style that have kind of diluted, this movie maybe. But for what it is, it's really good and really, really funny. And continuing with the comedy, we have Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Definitely its own style, its own thing. So this was supposed to be the last movie in Kevin Smith's View Askewniverse, which, started with movies like Clerks and had Chasing Amy in it, kind of with the same characters. But these are two of the, the comedic relief characters, basically, getting their own movie in 2001. And, yeah, just good, crazy fun. That 2000s style of comedy, and especially with the Kevin Smith twist. And this movie is actually getting a sequel of sorts. There's a movie coming out called Jay and Silent Bob Get Rebooted, where basically I think Kevin Smith's going to parody himself and Hollywood's recent trend of, reboots, remakes, restylings, and get these characters back. So that's pretty awesome. So glad to get it just in time for that. and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Apparently nobody went and saw this movie at the theater, but they watched it later and everybody realized it was really, really good. Basically a spy comedy thriller with Armie Hammer, Alicia Vikander, and Henry Cavill of Superman fame as basically the American, super spy. And he is awesome in this role. It's really, really good. And some exciting news about this, that there's a rumor that there's going to be a sequel to this movie, surprisingly, because it did not do well at the box office. But critics and fans have kind of maybe, hopefully, been vocal that this movie is really, really good. And next, the last two Blu-rays I have are from the Criterion collection. So this is my first purchase from Criterion, a birthday gift to me of sorts. So this is It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. It's a 1963 comedy movie, and it was one of the first really big ensemble comedies where it had just tons and tons of A-list actors and comedians. This style of humor really kind of fits in with what I like, and it's good to get just for the historical significance. It really kind of inspired the big ensemble movies that were to come later in later decades. All right, and lastly, I have the Criterion Collection's release of Dazed and Confused. I love Richard Linklater's stuff, and specifically this movie. This is, I think, my favorite of his. I love the 70s style, the use of music. It's got all the, the unknown actors at the time in it. McConaughey saying, all right, all right, all right. It's got it all, right? And there's also, a Texas connection, obviously, because Linklater is from Texas. It's set in Austin, but it's actually a lot of times based on his experiences in high school in Huntsville, Texas. So yeah, it's got a cool slipcover here with the holes. This cover, which opens up, it comes with a poster, a book with some essays on the film, and finally the Blu-ray itself. It's got some really cool special features on it also. So yeah, glad to take the jump into Criterion, especially for those two movies. And I got them on sale, so that's even better. So that's my March media collection update. A lot of good Blu-rays, a lot of good CDs, and I got them all, a lot of them, about half maybe, from thrift stores. So I just put out an episode a while back of my my first episode in the thrift series. So please take a look at that. It's kind of my journey into thrift stores and resale shops, showing me finding these movies and looking at all the other, cool, weird stuff that's there. All right. Thank y'all for watching. As always, happy collecting.